Hey you, it's Jess here and welcome back to my channel. Today I am doing a flip through of the 10 weeks, I believe it was, that I was in Australia. Now the first 2 weeks here, I do have a plan with me up on each of them. They'll each go up in the cards one after the other as I'm talking. But otherwise everything else is unfilmed. They are up on my Instagram already, so if you want to look at them close up like that, they are up there. But I'm just going to talk through what I did, how I went through, show you the kits, especially if you're the spreads, especially if you don't really check out Instagram and the algorithm, blah blah blah, if you miss them. So let's get into it. I did go to Australia for about 10 weeks. I moved to Finland. I'm from Australia, but I moved to Finland in December, and I'm still doing my PhD at my Australian university, and I finished my last chapter at the start of this year, and then I just had a lot of struggles thinking about revision. I wasn't too sure how I wanted to do it, so in the end we decided I'd go back to Australia and work on the revisions. I got one full revision done and half of one other, and I feel a lot more confident to complete. Because yeah, for a while there I was really considering quitting, and I basically unofficially quit for a month, I think. But that was a really good break to take. But it was really good to do the trip and see my friends back in Adelaide and yeah, get some of that revision done and just work through what I need to do, so now I know what the rest of them need. So here's the first week. It was April 8th to the 14th. And I got back into Australia on the Wednesday. I just used this cool, really pretty cafe set from Crest Press. I thought it was super Australia looking. We got quite like a coffee cafe culture there, so this just made me think of Adelaide. And I had a little symposium, one-day conference to go to on Friday, and I got my office key. We went out for dinner for a great pasta place. So that was a really nice thing to come back to. I got a ton of sticker Happy Mail because I sent my US boxes there, because if you send them to Australia you don't get customs, you don't have to pay customs. So I did that as much as I could. On the flights to and from Finland to Australia are really intense. But what I like to do is write down one of the movies that I watched, because I just endlessly watch movies. And I watched the old one, The Joy Luck Club from the 90s, which I thought was really good. I bawled like a baby. I cried so bad. But that was like before Crazy Rich Asians. This was the second all-Asian main movie cast, which is super bad, but I'm glad they're getting a lot more representation these days. But that was a really good film. Yeah, I had a really bad jet lag this week, so I slept a lot. And I got to start hanging out with Steph, who's Addie Plans on Instagram, addie.plans. She is awesome. I got her into planning. But yeah, this week. It's just getting settled in the hotel. I stayed in hotels the whole time. Got a new sim to use and blah blah blah. So that was that week. Then it was Easter week, and look at this, so you can see this plan with me as well. I'm using the purple foil and the SBC Easter kit. And yeah, this is when I started back at uni, except that I got sick. I think it started on Thursday. And then I got like full-on flu, because I have the flu. Pretty much had all the symptoms of flu, so of course I had to get sick. I didn't get sick all winter in Finland at all, even though it was snowy and minus 23 degrees Celsius, and I walked all day in that, but I didn't get sick until I got back to Australia. So typical. I almost always get sick from the plane. It is so bad. But I was also jet lagged, so sick and jet lagged, and it's just not very good. But I had like a welcoming and also birthday lunch here on Thursday for Jack, and then also just being welcomed back to Adelaide and with all of my uni peeps. And of course I got lots of bubble tea. I was staying with my mum previously to this, and then she left on Wednesday, and that's also the day that Notre Dame kind of burned down, but mostly didn't, so that's nice. Nice that it didn't really burn down, but I was keeping updated on that all day because I'm a history geek, so I'm a history student, so I got to keep an eye on that stuff. Also that I'm a history student of Catholic history, so I was like, oh my god. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, people care about Notre Dame, but not other things like about people. I care about people too. I just, you know, it was a big thing that day, and all of us early modernist medievalists were like, oh my god. So yeah, I was sick all Easter, and I just got lots of takeout, lots of Uber Eats delivered to the hotel. Kind of, the homesickness kind of set in that Sunday. But I did watch the whole short Netflix show special. I thought that was alright. I don't know how I feel about like the 15-minute episode short shows, but I suppose it gives Netflix a chance to really have a different variety of shows, and this was really interesting. They had cerebral palsy and he was gay, so I thought that was really interesting for him to tell his story. Yeah, and then it was Easter, so I ate 2 lots of Betty's burgers that day. Oops. You wouldn't know, but I love burgers. I live for burgers. And luckily there's a lot of burgers in Oulu as well, where I live, in Finland. So then this week I decided to use the Cyber Monday mystery, just with a whole lot of holo foil that came with it. I think it looked super fun. Tuesday was Andrea of SPC's birthday, so of course I put that in there. Although this kit is more for like Emily's style, but I don't know, I just used it this week and then I wanted to put Andrea's birthday in. I watched all of Derry's Girls, that was really good. Oh, my pins, my enamel pins got delivered that I designed, and I do have them here. I'm going to release them in August, I think, so wait for that. Still have a flu-y, and then on Wednesday I lost my voice completely. It was pretty bad. Anzac Day was on Thursday. That's like our version of Memorial Day, but it's kind of weird because it's kind of odd that Memorial Day like has sales and everything, whereas on Anzac Day it's actually frowned upon to have a sale. Like, it is a solemn day to memorialize the Anzacs. So it's a lot different in that sense. We're supposed to go to Priory, which is like a history group thing, but I was too sick to go really. And then I watched another one of those short Netflix shows, Bonding. I thought it was alright, it was interesting. Apparently not legit BDSM showing, but I don't care. It's a show. And I ordered AirPods because I was just sick of having no earphones. I only got overhead headphones. Then I was a little bit better on Friday, so I did like a little bit of, I got into work and I was just sort of like, oh, and then I finally I finally caught up on the end of Star Trek Discovery, and that was so good. Can't wait to the next season, although I'm gonna miss Captain Pike, who's totally my captain now. I love him. I love you, Captain Pike. Anyway, I do. And all this time I was also drawing, so I got some custom stuff done. My dad came over and we had burrito bowls, so that was good. Yeah, so I don't know, that's a typical week. I was just still sick. And I'm going to skip the monthlies because they have custom set information in them, because that's where I track that, and not all of them are released yet. So then I used this kit CC from SPC again, and lots of gold foil, and I used a Simply Gilded marble and gold washi, which I think looked really awesome. So I was feeling a lot better this day, but stuff happened on the Monday, and I changed hotels on the Sunday. I had to check out on Friday, and I checked into a different hotel. It was the Ibis, and I highly recommend it. I thought it was really, really good. But so what I was doing over the weekend is that I ended up catching up on Game of Thrones. I quit watching the end of season 6, so I just finished up season 7 because season 8 was beginning the next week. This Sunday, was it? I don't know. I was like, oh, I might as well watch, or did I have to catch up on the last season as well? Anyway, I decided I might as well just watch the new season live as it's happening because it was the last one. So I caught up on that. I used a little Mushu sticker from Once More with Love, like as a dragon, because that's what I had on hand. As the sort of previous video showed, I only brought a limited amount of stickers with me. So I was having milk tea, watching Erin Condren videos. I love Erin Condren Play With Me's the most. Drawing a lot. I ordered some new shoes. It was the Squirrel Prince Co. 5-year anniversary. Oh, and then it was J. Crew Plan's birthday, so I put Jessica's birthday in here, of course. But yeah, so I checked out and I actually stayed Friday and Saturday night with Steph and her partner Mark, although he was dog sitting for his mum, so it was just Steph. Oh, and Kylie came over, so I became better friends with Kylie, who is also a history PhD, but she finished last year. So I became really good friends with her, and it was so great, and we planned our Disneyland trip. So Steph and I were already going to Austin for the SPC party, and they're like, hey, why don't we go to Disneyland, Universal? And then Kylie was like, why don't I come with you guys? Then we could split everything 3 ways in LA. So we got our girls trip booked to Disney. Super duper fun. And then we just drank a lot of wine and watched Botched Bodies, which I really am not a fan of. Surgery video like shows, so I just kept looking away the whole time. But that was really fun. I lost my debit card. I left it on my desk on Friday. So then luckily I went back to uni and got my debit card before checking into the hotel, which was only like a 5-minute walk, but my dad had my big suitcase, so he came and dropped it off, and I just got settled into my new hotel room. But that was this week. So just catching up and getting over that dang flu, which put me behind, of course. But I think it turned out really pretty. I love this sort of the speckled headers with this and all the like leopard print. So I love that. Although it's like super like, whoa. Maybe a bit too much foil in the headers for my taste. So this week it was the Mother's Day set. So this is Peony from SPC, and this is actually a recolor version of the Mother's Day set from last year. And this is actually the first art I ever did for Andrea as a custom, and I drew this on the plane from London back to Australia. And I was super duper proud of it, loved it, and I think the recolor turned out even better. I just think it's so pretty with just all the light pink. So I started getting into work, and I had to work on a literature review for my first chapter, and I hate those. I'm really bad at doing them, so it takes a little bit of working for me. I submitted my form to extend my scholarship, but the next day I was denied a scholarship, so it finished in June, so I'm so sad. I'm so broke. But anyway, I just gotta draw more, you know, to make that money up. But yeah, what else did I do? Wednesday, I don't know where my brain was, but I left my phone at uni, and when I got to my room I was like, oh well, I'll pick it up on Thursday, it's just my phone, it'll be fine. And then my laptop got to about 10% power, and I was like, oh, I better plug this in. No, I left my laptop charger at uni as well. So by 8 p.m. I was like, screw it, I'm walking over to uni and I'm getting my phone and laptop charger. But I don't know how I forget these things. They're like the most important things. Well, so I don't know, my brain was just fried this week. I did go see my dad's new place on Tuesday. He moved into like a retirement flat that he bought, and it's really good. So I spent the rest of the day with him. I was watching Happy Endings, which is like an old show, but I highly recommend it if you can get your hands on it. You might have to get it illegally. But anyway, Happy Endings is the best. If you're like into Friends and stuff, Happy Endings is where it is. New Girl, that is the ultimate Friends show. So, and I won't argue with anyone, don't at me, Happy Endings is the best one. So, what else happened that week? I sort of just chilled on the weekend. I watched Wine Country on Netflix, and that was okay. I released my independence art. Oh, I knew Lucifer season came out and I just binge watched that the whole weekend, and that was so good. I've already rewatched the entire show. I'm probably going to rewatch it again with luck. And I also went to lunch with my friend Rachel, another uni friend. And we also booked our Los Angeles accommodation, and I also was able to extend my hotel stay because I only had a certain amount of money, and then I was able to get some more together to extend my trip to the very end. So that was good. And there was Mother's Day on Sunday. And I was able to get a sticker haul video up. That's all that I could really film while I was there. But I think this week turned out really pretty, and yeah, and just doing some work on chapter 1. So the next week I used baby cakes, and I didn't have the glitter headers for it. So I just wired everything out and I put the sprinkles glitter overlays there, and I think it looks okay. It makes it look super spread out. I don't know. And it's all that rose gold from SPC. So this is where I was like, I kind of fell behind during that week, so I was catching up on my work. Yeah, I wrote this bitch, aka me, because I just kept not working like an idiot. So yeah, that's how it happens to me, and then I sort of do a whole chunk of work right at the end. But it was my supervisor's birthday on Wednesday, and I got her a card. And then Steph got her chocolates, and then her new students got her flowers. So all of us together got her one big present, kind of. So that was kind of funny. But we are poor students, you know. We're poor students. And I started a new skincare routine, although I got it updated a bit later because I finally, on Sunday, Steph, Carly, and I went to a Mecca skincare lab where you can try out and get told about skincare for free. And we tried out Drunk Elephant, and I just totally fell in love. So later on in the month, in June, I went and bought everything I wanted from Drunk Elephant because it was so good. We're supposed to have a study day, the three of us, on Saturday as well, but we ended up, I think we did do some studying that day at the library, but we got iced chocolate, went shopping, got Malaysian food from Honky Tonky, and then we watched Bionic Vet and chilled out. Because that's who we are as people. It's a study day, but don't get a lot of studying done. And then it was Eurovision that weekend, which I didn't really watch, sadly, but I really love Norway's song from it. I still listen to it. Norway's song is a banger indeed. So that was this week. It was a super old kit, so I brought in some multicolor marble range from SPC store, which I think is still up, just to bring in more fancy labels and squared off boxes, because I love those. Oh, and it was also the election this weekend, and my side lost, so whatever. It was not a good election, it was ridiculous, but I voted on Thursday. And now that I've moved properly, I have to unenroll. I can't vote anymore, because I don't live there anymore. Oh well. Then this week I used the Pride and Prejudice kit, which is probably one of my favorites. It's so beautiful. I put some bow headers just over the full boxes and a little bit of foil here and there. I love it. I think this is so pretty, and I love the way this cut up and had the flags and the hearts. I just love Pride and Prejudice. I finally watched the movie version with Keira Knightley on the plane, and it was actually really good, but Mr. Darcy will always be young Colin Firth to me. Like, that's Mr. Darcy to me. So, but otherwise I really enjoyed it. So what happened this week? The Game of Thrones finale, and I did a side-eyeing wine one time because we all know how that was going to go. And it did. There were parts of it that I did enjoy, but otherwise I'm like, well, they ruined the show. They really did rush the end there, which kind of sucks because it could have been like a magnum opus, but it wasn't. Ah well, and I got wine obviously to drink with it because I needed wine. And I got my first chapter done, so I emailed that. And I had a well-deserved sleeps. And then I just did a whole bunch of drawing, finished up a custom, drinking wine. Then I started on chapter 2 and I ate steak because I'm like, yum yum steak. Then I got my eyes tested from the optometrist to get a new lenses put in because I hadn't had them tested for 2 years, so I thought I should get those updated before I go. And then we had history circle, we went to the Howling Owl and had gin. And then Saturday was Planner Girl Day, so hung out with Steph and Kylie again. And we ended up just watching the entire series of Bad Education, all 3 seasons. Bad Education is so good if you love British shows, and he's like a really bad history teacher, so we were super into it as history people. So we watched a whole of that, and we had lasagna. I love these Hazel sticker food stickers because they kind of match every time. And then I was just sort of alone with my thoughts because, you know, I'm just depressed all the time when I'm by myself. Then, visit Dad's new flat. I don't know what happened because I went to it the other week. Anyway, I think I just saw my dad, like he came over or something. Anyway, visit Dad's new flat. I think I saw him previously. It was at his old house, but this is the new flat now. Yeah, and I started rewatching Lucifer. So this week I finally got that chapter all revised, and my supervisors had to read it, so I started on chapter 2. And just, yes, pretty much spent every weekend hanging out with my new friends. Pretty much spent all weekend hanging out with my new friends. Sorry if there's a weird cut there, but I just showed off the monthly, and I shouldn't have. Because there's unreleased sets in there. Alrighty. So this is the start of the week. All of these other spreads I had pre-planned when I was in Finland. And then I decided to stay longer. So I had to plan with the newer kits that I had on hand in Australia. So I got this Glam Planner kit in a pre-sale and I thought it was so beautiful, I just had to use it. It's just super duper pretty and this artist is amazingly talented. I'm like, why do I even bother? But anyway, so yeah, so I put this one down. So you'll see I don't do anything fancy with the bottom washi and stuff because I don't have those on hand. Nor did I have proper date dots. Anyway, so this week I was just working on chapter 2 and also my pre-submission review, which was like a presentation and paperwork I had to do. So a public lecture on Tuesday of this really interesting guy. I can't remember his name because I'm terrible. Barthrop, and he researches, he's a historian who researches at the moment Jewish women during World War II in Vichy, France, who helped, they were basically coyotes who got Jewish children out into Switzerland to safety. It was crazy. These young women, they're like 21, 22. 2 of them ended up being killed by the German forces, the Nazis. But they helped save like hundreds of Jewish children, which is amazing. Such an amazing stories. And he was a really interesting historian. He said he was a total crier, and so when he was reading these things about them, he totally cried. So I thought that was so sweet. But it was really interesting research. I can try and look it up. If you're interested, just comment below. I'll get you his name. The book just did come out. But it is an academic book, I think. Anyway, so we saw that his lecture on Tuesday was really interesting. I had some private thoughts, so I put them in my little private secret once in a while with love drawing here. Dumps, we got dumplings. We got a lot of dumplings because I haven't found good dumplings in Ola yet. And then on Wednesday I got my ears pierced because I hadn't had my earlobes pierced in a long time. I originally did and they got like infected, so they're just gone forever. And I was like, finally, I just want to wear earrings. So I got them pierced on Wednesday. I'm trying to keep up with them better. I feel like it's just hard. I don't know. How do children do it? Anyway, coffee with Steph, milk tea. I got my new lenses, which I was at first like, what is happening? It took so long to get used to them. Had a history circle again with all the new history cohort. There's just like 15 new students this year, which is really cool. We had barely any since I started, so it was great to have a new lot of history students. So we had more circle together, we went to Howling Owl, and then 2-Bit Villains with Steph and Kylie. We checked out Mecca. And this weekend I did a lot of drawing, and I watched Always Be My Maybe, which was really good, and then I rewatched it again with Steph and Kylie. And then Steph's partner Mark, he cooked us dinner on Sunday, which was really good. I just did tons more drawing and whatnot. So yeah, pretty simple week, but I think it turned out really pretty. Then I decided to use one of the mystery kits, the like Planet Girl sleepover one. Really, really pretty. I just put a ton of bows in there because, well, it's bows before bros. And then I was working on my pre-submission review this week, trying to get bits done. So I was using these tick boxes that come with the kits now to like do that. And technically I did finish my outline, so I'm gonna tick this off because I can. And it was also not a great week. I think this is the second to last week. Yeah, so this is we're almost at the end. But yeah, it was a terrible week in my personal life, but I'm gonna keep that personal. But yeah, as you can see, stuff happened. It got better by the weekend. But I had like my last sort of, oh no, we had a last dinner on, yeah. So we had like a dumplings with Steph, Kylie, and Astrid. Astrid is like a politics student, and she's really cool. I think she watches these, but she doesn't know. But hi Astrid, if you do. Then I was booking flights for things. Oh, that was my flights home to Oddly. Otherwise I was just kind of at uni, kind of trying to catch up on chapter 2. Yeah, and then I watched Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, one of my favorite childhood films, which I know is kind of weird to have a drag queen film as one of your favorite childhood films, but it is. But Viv was watching it, so I had to watch it as well, and I love it. One of my favorite movies. Tu Wong Fu, check it out, you won't be disappointed. Patrick Swayze, Wesley Snipes, and John Leguizamo as drag queens, amazing. And then I had a long phone call with Locke, and I just started organizing my bag to take home. And then Sunday, I just hung out with the girls. We went to Kmart, Priceline, David Jones, Mecca, did a ton of shopping. We had hot chocolates, and we went to Steph's and cooked baked potatoes, and it was super yum. And then I just sort of doctored this Once More Love hanging out girls to make them 3. I think that was really cute, just for us hanging out that day. But yeah, I really love the way this turned out, and it was definitely a bows before bros kind of week. Then here's my final week in Australia. I used Accio Pink, but I'm not really into Harry Potter, to be honest. So I took all the Harry Potter specific things out. So there's still like magic spells and magic theory, but I think it's just a really pretty sort of witchy study kit. I think that was really cute that way. I put a ton of pretty gold sparkle kind of overlays and this Fight Like a Girl from the Sticky Committee. I just think it turned out so pretty. I love this week. I started getting sick again on Monday. I'm like, really? Ridiculous? Like the same kind of feeling sick as my flu before. So I took some cold and flu tablets, and I had the most intense 1-hour nap. I woke up and like half my face was bright red. And all of a sudden I just felt better. Like my scratchy throat and everything was just gone. Which is good because I had my pre-sub presentation on the Wednesday. So I didn't want to lose my voice, and it went really well. So I put this Fox and Cactus I'm Awesome AF sticker in there because I felt really good about it. My supervisor, Katie, she said, I'm gonna ask you a mean question. Can you summarize in 1 or 2 sentences your entire thesis argument? And I was like, oh my god. But apparently I did it. I did it well. So it was basically that early modern mysticism was corporal, it was in the real world, it's tangible, it was emotional, and it was transformative, unlike medieval, which was very internal. and it was communal, and it was also served to edify and legitimize convent communities and nuns. So that was sort of my argument, and apparently that was okay. So if that's what you want to know what I write about, that's it. It probably didn't make that much sense just now because I was like, what? Anyway, going on. So E3 was going on this week, so I was watching the Triple Jump, my favorite gaming dudes. I was watching their reactions. Then we had the post-grad conference, so all the newbies were doing their, we call it CCSP, so like the first 6 months you present your research idea and plan and what you're going to do. And so then I sort of presented the end of what did I do. So I thought that was ended up being really good, so they could see someone finishing. We booked our Austin flights, Steph and I, picked up some last minute items and had my last dinner with Astrid and Steph and Kylie. So that was good, well, with Astrid, and then we had Steph and Kylie and I had a girls' night at Friday, and we made nachos. It was super duper good. And then after the post-grad conference, got a drink at the Howling Owl, and then just sort of relaxed. I did get my US shipment in, so it was great. I visited my dad, and I had lunch with Rachel again, and a meeting. Yeah, it was all pretty much went well. And then I had lunch with Steph and our supervisor Claire, and then we went to Flinders to see a seminar, and we had drinks and food there as well. And then we had, so it was a very busy Friday actually, a pretty busy week altogether. Then I just packed my bags on Friday night, and so I had to check out on Saturday, but my flight wasn't until 10 p.m. So my dad picked me up and I just hung out with him all day. We watched like tons of Angie Tribeca, which is really good if you're into like Airplane and Leslie Nielsen and that kind of humor. That's what Angie Tribeca tries to do, emulate. And then I put in Ma Gets Married. She got married that day. And then my mum came over and we had dinner together, and then a farewell at the airport. It went pretty well. I'm waiting to put a sticker here because I want to use the new SPC Starbucks script, because there's a Starbucks at Helsinki airport and I totally got one. So I'm going to put Starbucks there. But on the plane I watched a ton of movies, but I watched Mary, Queen of Scots, and I really enjoyed that. I mean, it's not 100% historical, but I thought it was a really good film in the end actually. And then I got home at about 10 something p.m. that night, and it was broad daylight. It was very odd being in a taxi and just like driving. And then also when I left, it was still sort of snowy, and there was tons of snow everywhere, and coming back it's all gone. It's summer now. And I just like, I don't recognize anywhere. What the hell? Oh my god, that's my bus stop. What? So that was pretty fun in getting home. But yeah, that was my Australia trip. I got half of my chapter 2 done. I got all of chapter 1 done. So now I'm going to get back into the groove, get those chapters. I have 4 chapters to revise. So I'm going to revise them, get my intro conclusion done, and then I think I'll be submitting my like intention to submit. So I'm aiming for November, I think. But I have until like June next year, so I'm not going to rush myself. I'm not going to stress too much. I'm just going to keep plugging away at it. But it was a really good trip. I'm so glad I ended up doing it. You know, getting to meet all the new history students, and also just spending and becoming better friends with Steph and Kylie especially. It was really good, and I can't wait to see them in July for our LA trip. It's going to be so good. But yeah, I think it ended up being a really good trip for me. But that is all the spreads. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Definitely comment below. I love to talk to you. I do try and reply to every comment eventually. But yeah, otherwise I hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time. Bye!